All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's bi-weekly podcast. We have a lot in store for you today. It is National Self-Care Awareness Month. So that is fully loaded with whatever you want that to be for yourself. Today, we're going to focus a little bit on the self-care on the financial part of things, which is going to be on the credit cards, debt planning, and tax planning. With interest rates a little higher right now, these are coming back into play to say, okay, do we need to do something with these? Is there a plan we need to take care of it if we do have some credit cards kind of looming in the background, or if we have some debt that's out there that isn't as favorable as it used to be? And also, we're going to talk about some tax planning because there's new tax law changes, of course, that happened this year. Great time to kind of do like a self-care check-in to see how are we doing with taxes so far this year. Are things changed? Are they the same? Are we going to get some help from these new tax laws that have changed? Great time to kind of check in, do some self-care. And that's what today's podcast is all going to be about. So before we get started, as you guys like to know, we like to go big. We like to begin in gratitude, B-I-G, begin in gratitude. Gets us in a better state of mind. Sometimes with the hectic mornings we have once in a while, sometimes with hectic things going on in our lives, it's always good to take a deep breath, sit back, and be grateful for the things that we have going on in our lives. So today, we're going to go big. Mine is kids are back in school. You know, I'm not quite sure who was more exhausted the first day, which was yesterday for most. I know some started earlier, but who's more exhausted? The kids, the teachers, or the parents? I'm not exactly sure, but I think routine is really good. I think structure is really good. And I think that we're back in that area right now. So I'm grateful for the routine and structure. For how much I sometimes in my personal life like to kind of free flow a little bit, I think structure is probably good for everybody to some extent. So, Ashley, how about yourself?
Thank you, Ken. I'm much so like you. I enjoy the post-summer routine, the schedule, getting into good habits. So I am just grateful for this time of year, as well as kids back in school, back to a structured life and enjoying that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate that very much. Lisa, how about yourself?
Oh, thanks, Ken. Okay, so yesterday, as I left work at 5 o'clock, and I think a few co-workers can attest with me that I came out and I had a nail in my tire yesterday at 5 o'clock. So I am very grateful for AAA. And that it wasn't raining like it is now today. So literally gave AAA a call and they came out and I didn't even have to put my spare on. They pulled the nail out, plugged it, and I was off by 5:30 p.m. So didn't even let it phase me. Didn't do the freaking out or anything, just did my thing, waited, the guy did it, and yeah, all good. So I'm very grateful that I still have AAA, and that's a good savings point too, to have any kind of breakdown service. So especially being a female in the evening. So grateful for that, Ken.
Lisa, very good. You know, you've used AAA quite a bit now, so you get your money's worth. Maybe your premiums are going up because of that, but you definitely get your money's worth from AAA, unfortunately.
No, my premiums aren't going up because of that, because I do AAA separate to my insurance. I don't even affect my insurance. So
even better, even better. So I'm glad that you have that service. It's a great point. Maybe today we'll talk about it as well, but having that additional service above and beyond your auto insurance, that AAA like Lisa's talking about. Sometimes having a flat tire isn't necessarily covered from your auto insurance, believe it or not. Some of the towing is, 5 miles, 10 miles, 50 miles, that sort of thing. But that additional service sometimes isn't there. So having that, that gap policy. We talk about Medicare planning with Medigap policies. Sometimes we have these auto insurance gap policies, and AAA is probably one of the better ones that are out there. So, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. Zach, how about yourself? How about you? What are you grateful for?
Well, Lisa kind of lodged a memory loose for me. I'm kind of grateful for AAA too, because they helped me from being stranded in the Arizona desert one time when I ran a 54-kilometer run at night and I locked the keys in the car after. So Lisa just lodged that random gratitude for me. But The one that I had that was really top of mind is just I got the opportunity to celebrate Mike Mann, a teammate of ours here's wedding last weekend. And a lot of you know that Mike and I have spent a lot of time together, both in the office and out of the office over the last 7 years. It's really just amazing to watch the person that he's grown into, the family that he's starting now. And it was just an honor to be there. And also just extremely grateful for how fun my son is getting every single day. I feel like we had our first conversation yesterday, back and forth. We were repeating what the other was saying, da, da, yeah, all these different things. And it was just a ton of fun. I don't know if it was 5 minutes or an hour, but time didn't exist during those moments. So extremely grateful for that.
Thank you, Zach, for sure. I want to congratulate Mike on his wedding over the weekend here. So can't wait to see what him and Sabrina end up doing together. So that'll be fun journey to be part of as well. And yeah, kids are a lot of fun, aren't they? So no matter what age, conversations change a little bit from da da to yeah. But but kind of the same thing, because they need you and they want you and they want, you got to kind of figure out what's going on there. So Michael Birschbach, how about yourself? What are you grateful for?
Thank you, Ken. Lots to be grateful for. One of my favorite times of the year, of course. Really grateful that NFL football is back. The Packers traded for somebody. I'm not sure if anybody saw the news, but pretty excited for that. Also got to see one of my best friends actually make a hole-in-one this weekend, which was really cool. Second one I've actually ever witnessed. And it just so happens that now, two of the worst golfers in the group that we play with are the only two that have hole-in-ones. So sometimes it's just the way it works. Thanks, Ken.
You know what they say, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and that's what that sometimes is, right? So, but well, thank you very much. I think that's everybody that's on the call on the podcast today. So thank you for all of your gratefulness, and of course the viewers here watching now, and when you'll watch the recordings, we love to hear when you come to the office. What are you grateful for? We always like to hear your stories and what you're up to and things in your life. It really is important to us to get a sense of that for you guys. So we appreciate that. So today is about financial health. We are going to go through a few things. I know Michael has some items ready for credit cards and kind of what affects your credit score. Zach is going to talk about the markets as usual, and a little bit about what he's seen when he's meeting with clients as well, to bring some of that to light and some perspective. We'll probably touch on interest rates a little bit. Mike Mann isn't on the podcast today because he just got married, so he's celebrating with his wife right now. But I have to fill in a little bit with the Federal Reserve, because that is definitely something he would chat about on the podcast as well. And we'll talk about debt a little bit. We'll also talk about taxes. So let's start with taxes, actually, and then I'll hand it over to some of the teammates here. And also, Ashley has her part too today. Ashley's acumen, self-care. Listen to this one: self-care at no cost. That might be the best part of the program. So we're going to see what she has to say here in a little bit as well. So when it comes to taxes, great time to check in right now. So we've had some scenarios where clients have inherited money. They've inherited some IRAs or personal accounts or assets or land. It changes the overall tax scenario for them, as you can imagine. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. They have actually more dividend income and more interest income that's going to be reported this year than it was last year. And if we don't get ahead of that, there might be an underpayment penalty that is issued by the IRS come tax time. So this is a great time to check in. Has anything changed in your scenario? Have you inherited some money? Have you put a few extra dollars to work and earning more interest now that's going to show up on your taxes? And just to make sure that, sometimes we have to pay quarterly estimates if we're not paying enough, to make sure we have that underpayment penalty not there when we do our taxes come tax time next year, April of 2026. So just a good time to check in. Also, if you can get ahead of required minimum distributions, RMD planning, we talk about it quite a bit here. And if you have that scenario, we've talked to you about your required minimum distributions, conversion planning, moving money from traditional IRAs to Roth IRAs. That's called conversion planning. Great tax planning in there, right? So we have new tax laws that are permanent now. And so we also have some extra deductions to be had if you're a certain age, under a certain income limit. So these are all great times to kind of just jog your memory a little bit. Say, hey, wow, that did change. let me reach out to my advisor on the team. Let me reach out to the Gentian team and say, okay, hey, is there something that we should be doing right now? Is there something that could benefit us? That would be very helpful. Of course, we're trying to talk to you guys about this in your meetings as well. But if we don't see each other for another couple months or so on our scheduled reviews, then please reach out to us, because if we can get ahead of that for you and with you, it's just going to be a better scenario for yourself. So that's the piece on taxes right now. There's quite a few other pieces we could touch on taxes. We could actually probably have a tax planning podcast just on tax planning, because there's so much going on. But I'm gonna pause there for a moment on taxes. I'm gonna hand it over to Zach. And Zach, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, sounds great, Ken. Really appreciate it. I'll go through markets like normal. I'll share a few kind of financial plan health items as well, and also kind of how it relates to our overall true wealth and what means most to you and your family. So starting with the Dow Jones is up about 6.5% on the year. The S&P 500, which is the one that we look at the most closely, is about 9%. The NASDAQ, which is 50% weighted towards technology, is up about 10.2%. And really the three biggest items when it comes to the markets are on these next three indices. The Russell 2000 is actually up 5%, which is a 5, and it was 2 days ago, it was up almost 6% from our biweekly webinar 2 weeks ago. So great to see the smaller size companies, shows the beauty of rebalancing, the diversification. And then international emerging markets are really the two highlights when it comes to an overall plan, an overall portfolio, and also the timeless pieces of owning the different asset classes and continuing to, regardless of how well they're performing for a short period of time. Where the international space is actually up almost 19% on the year, and emerging markets is up almost 18. What a lot of times a lot of people made mistakes on over the last few years that we watched is that emerging markets and international really struggled even leading into COVID. So for 5 or 6 years, greatly underperformed large cap growth, a lot of other categories as well. People looked at their plan, man, international and emerging markets never going to come back. All of a sudden, right when they got out of it, shifted towards other asset classes, that's when it performed the best. So it just shows the importance of diversification, rebalancing, and continuing on those over time. A couple when it comes to just the self-care and the awareness behind it when it relates to our financial plan. Just taking a look at whether it's tax planning, whether it's our debt management and the things that Ken and Michael talked about, but also others. Are we aligned with our original plan? Whether we're leading up to retirement or in retirement, are we aligned with what we originally discussed, the plans that we put in place? Is there anything that we have to re-go through where when it comes to the self-care side, a lot of times, whether it's personally or finance, it comes to a realignment. And when it comes to our finances is also something called correction preparation. We call them our lifeboat drills, and getting back to the basics where we have had two unbelievable back-to-back years coming out of 2022. Behind the scenes, we're grateful for it. We appreciate it. We love to see balances grow over time for you and your family. However, we're behind the scenes looking on these lifeboat drills, always ready for these corrections that will occur. And with that, when it comes to our self-care side, are we overspending? Are we taking too much advantage of these last 2 great years? And do we need to maybe do our own personal lifeboat drills of maybe now's not the time for that massive purchase? Or if it is, it's right now and let's structure it right away. Let's not if we have a 20% market correction, 15% market correction, is that too much of a withdrawal? Is that going to be too big of an expense to take on? And just looking at those. And when it comes to our overall true wealth, you've heard us talk about it before. It's really, what is your money a resource for? Whether it's your core assets of who you are, your experiences, or your contribution. Taking a step back and looking, is our time plus our money equaling our priorities or what matters most? Or is that something that maybe we should go back to the drawing board on as a family or as an individual of what means most to you? And lastly, before I hand it back to Ken, I just wanted to share an amazing quote that applies to finances, and I think it actually really applies to life as well, is that systems compound wealth, predictions compound stress. So when it comes to our financial plan, the systems that we put in place, either behind the scenes here by us or with your own personal scenario, compound wealth. But the predictions, the market's going to do this, interest rates are going to do this, the certain things that are going to occur in my life, all these things that we're forward looking for, compound stress. So just be aware of that as you consider your financial health, but also most importantly, your actual physical and mental health as well. So with that, Ken, back to you.
Yeah, very good, Zach. Thank you very much. And it really like three words that we say quite a bit here is faith, patience, and discipline. Really will take you the distance. We're talking about financials today, but even if you kind of draw that back to your own life, faith, patience, and discipline, how often does that come into play in almost everyday life and everything that we're doing, right? So just when you don't think it's going to happen, like the emerging markets, it happens. It's like being caught in like traffic. And how many times have you been in the left lane where there's a slowdown, it's not moving at all, and you see the car zooming past you on the right, and you're just like, are we in the wrong lane? I mean, how many times are you tempted to jump into the right lane to try to do that, only to realize that when you do that, that lane slows down and then the left lane starts going, right? It's just one of those things where it's faith, patience, and discipline. Also reminds me, if anybody's been up north recently, when the speed limit's 55, it's amazing how many cars are lined up in a row, especially on a busy travel day. And everyone's, some people are going 55, some people are going 65, and there's a line of cars like, for miles, right? And the people who want to pass you, and they'll pass two or three cars only to wait in line 3 cars ahead of you 6 miles up the road. It's the same thing. It's just faith, patience, and discipline comes into play everywhere. It's unbelievable that you see this stuff. So thank you, Zach. We appreciate your perspective on that. With does the checkbook match up versus what you value in life, and does your calendar match up with what you value in life as well? So very, very good. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go bring on Ashley's acumen on the financials, and then she's going to talk about self-care at no cost. Ashley.
Thank you, Ken. Yes, today, as Ken already mentioned a little bit earlier, September is recognized officially as Self-Care Awareness Month. And so I bring to you a few ideas that cost you no additional money. Yes, I usually save you money, but this time you don't have to spend any money to do and just reflect on the things that are most important. So number one is just being super active. Obviously, get up, get those steps in, grab a social circle and do something active together. The importance of just being with people as well as activity in your life is going to extend our lives and obviously make us much happier and pleasant to be around. And also, following that, after you're active, prioritizing your sleep and just recovery is also another thing to prioritize and make sure that you have a good routine when it comes to you right before sleep. Reflect regularly. So we encourage this here at Gentian all the time. So those gratitude journals that you have, maybe you have it off on a shelf somewhere, maybe wipe the dust off of that, get into that habit of writing down, reflecting, journaling. It can lead to a very long extended life. It's also something wonderful that your kids may discover one day in your home and just learn a lot about you. There might be stories in there that they will have for their entire life. So get out that journal. I encourage you to use it often. Track habits and activity. Habits are not created easily. So get in the routine, use that smartphone. There's lots of great apps. I know Zach has a great app that he's been using recently. Zach, chime in on that app name anytime that you would like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's called Habits actually, and it's just a red check mark if you're in the App Store. And I've been using it for about 2 months. And when it comes to goals, just in general, I don't want to go on a tangent here because I easily could because I'm very passionate about this. But we always make these big, massive goals because we're sitting in a comfortable environment, and it's like, oh, I want to be able to do this, 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 and this. And they're all very, very large. And oftentimes what happens is we get very excited for a week or two, and all of a sudden that excitement starts to wane and it gets more and more difficult, where the beauty of the Habits app is you can customize it to, you could have a big goal, but then smaller goals. As an example, I have several where one is do 5 push-ups in the morning when I wake up. I know I could do a lot more than that, but if I said I would do 100, the probability of me doing that every single day, I'd get to day 5 and be like, man, I don't really want to do that. I'm sore. I'm not going to do that. So 5, next week I'll do 6, the week after I'll do 7, and then continue to add and compound different things in there. So again, I could keep going further, but it's called the Habits Act. It's marked by a red check mark, and it's been great for me and my family.
Perfect. Thank you, Zach. So again, check out that Habits app. Also just tracking that activity, either using your smartwatch, whatever you use. Tracking activity also can just mentally get you more activity and more movement alone. Don't forget to drink plenty of water. Staying hydrated is super important. Also doesn't cost you any money. Eating those greens, especially from those of you that have an active garden going, I'm sure it is very bountiful at the moment between the heat and the rain that we've had. So make sure to get those greens in, as well as plenty of protein. If you chimed into our last health and wealth last week, which we will have a recording of soon, Michelle had talked about the importance of just eating protein, especially after that activity and or workout that you are following. And last but not least, avoid comparison. So all of us may be guilty of going on social media, talking with friends, and comparing yourselves to others. Try to avoid that, or at least minimize that, and focus on yourself and your progress. So again, when it comes to that journaling, write down measurements, weight, set a goal, and then check back on that, and do it for yourself, I guess is what I want to leave you all with. So do it for yourself, prioritize yourself during September's Self-Care Awareness Month. Back to you, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Very good stuff there as usual. We appreciate your perspective on it and your contribution to the podcast. Always welcome. And we heard some good feedback from listeners about your piece as well. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. So let's chat about interest rates a little bit. This kind of correlates to debt as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So interest rates, the Federal Reserve has 3 meetings left. They meet 8 times a year to influence the U.S. economy, whether they hit the gas pedal, whether they're coasting, or whether they hit the brake pedal a little bit, actually. So that's what the Federal Reserve does. That's their role. It's to regulate interest rates across the world, basically. And so they have 3 meetings left. One is coming up on September 16th. They get together, they talk, and then they make a decision on September 17th of this year. So there's plenty of rumblings right now that they're going to lower the interest rate, actually. So we'll see if it happens. It was supposed to be 2 of them already, but we haven't heard anything yet, and we haven't seen anything yet. So it just goes to show you really don't know what they're thinking or what they're going to do. But they are meeting here in a couple of weeks, so we'll see. It kind of correlates to savings and debt. A good time to check in. Do you have extra money that could be utilized if you want to keep it safe? Could we earn more interest? We've been talking about this one for a couple of years now, but again, there's always some money out there that, oh, well, yeah, that's right. We have 25,000 or 30,000 in a checking account that's sitting there for the rainy day. Could we earn more interest on that? And the answer is right now, yes. Whether it's through CDs, whether it's through the money markets that are out there, the rates that we've been offering clients and putting them into to earn more interest have been wonderful. They're very liquid. They're very easy to get in, very easy to get out. They're very wonderful. They're 4.29% for a current rate right now. So pretty good, pretty good. So there's also CDs out there as well. Reminds me of kind of a little of a joke. My wife told me that I should stop acting like a CD. And I said, well, why would I stop acting like a CD? I'm yielding more than you expected at home. So anyways, that's kind of a funny little CD joke there. Kind of cute, I think. But you guys can give me some feedback on my dad jokes. Go ahead and email me. That's fine. No problem. I can handle it. I can handle it. But yes, it goes to show about savings. That savings rates also correlates to if we have debt out there. If debt is at 6, 7, and 8 right now, sometimes we have those car payments as well, loan payments, RV payments, even mortgages. We're at that kind of teetering spot, whether it's like, do we pay it off? Do we not pay it off? Do we wait to see what the Fed does, buy some time? So again, if you have questions in that area, let us know. We'd be certainly help you out and kind of weigh back the options, if you will, kind of back and forth, if you will. So that's that piece on, and also student loans. That's another big one as well that we hear quite a bit about. So if you have questions on student loans, we have Mike Mann tends to be the expert here on student loans in the office. So if you have questions on that, he knows quite a bit about that and be able to kind of guide you down the right path to see if there's options for you or your family members as well. So I did get a comment, by the way. Thank you, Rick. Good joke on CDs, Ken. I appreciate that. Thank you, Rick. That really made my whole day. Thanks for your comment. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, all right, let's switch gears here. Let's bring on Michael Birschbach. Let's hear a little bit about credit cards and credit ratings and credit scores. Michael, please.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, today I want to talk a little bit about credit score, more of a basic topic, but one that's isn't brought up a whole lot, and it could be valuable whether you're in a position where you want to improve your credit score or you're educating your children or grandchildren who are now just getting started in their financial world. So, what is it? It's essentially a report card of your ability to borrow money and pay it back. It tells lenders essentially how trustworthy you are based on your past. So if you have a higher credit score, more beneficial as far as getting lower borrowing rates or more flexible lending options, potentially. It all depends, but there's typically only positive things that come with having a great credit score. So the 5 things that are a part of it, number one, this accounts for 35% of your credit score, pretty straightforward. It's your ability, your payment history, your ability to pay on time. The second most important piece is your credit utilization rate. This one is where you are able to potentially increase that credit score over time. So your utilization rate, it's a fancy way of saying how much you're actually using on that credit compared to how much you're able to borrow. So maybe your credit line is $100,000 and you're using $10,000 in that example, your utilization rate is only 10%. So guidance wise, below 30% of that credit utilization rate is a good number. 10% or below is ideal. Another part of it, the fourth, is your credit history. That accounts for about 15% of your credit score. Simply how long you've had those type of credit accounts open, the longer the better. Now, one little tip that if you have an old credit card that you don't necessarily use a whole lot, you can consider actually keeping that account open, maybe using that or swiping it once per year to buy something, just to make sure that account stays active. But why would you do that? So for one, if you have an additional credit account open, it's essentially, and you're not using it, it's going to keep your utilization rate even lower. It's also going to lengthen your credit history. So a little tip there. And the last 2 items that contribute to your credit score, one of them is going to be the types of credit that you have. So whether it's a credit card, mortgage, auto loan, it just shows that you can manage different types of expenses and manage your finances. And the last piece, more typically well known, but how many new inquiries have you had recently? So if you're applying for a lot of different credit lines in a short time frame, that can temporarily affect or lower your credit score. So all good things to pay attention to. If you want to talk a little bit deeper about credit or any of the items from the webinar today, please reach out to us. We're happy to help out. Thank you, Ken.
Michael, appreciate it. Great stuff on credit scores and what actually is affected. Sometimes people wonder, what if I do this, is it going to affect it? If I close that credit card down, is it going to affect my score? So very, very good piece there as well. So just a tidbit on taxes. Ashley, thank you for the reminder that third quarterly taxes are due September 15th. So if you are paying quarterlies, they're coming up here in a couple of weeks. Make sure you get those in by then. September 15th, third quarter taxes, estimated taxes are due. So just wanted to bring that piece there too. So heard this from one of my coaches this morning. I listened to Time of Grace. It's really a wonderful program. Talks about life in general. And if you don't get it, admit it. And so how many times have you been in a conversation with somebody and they're talking about something you have no idea about? And you're like, yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, I can think of like 3 or 4 this last weekend of somebody was talking about commercial lending and he was talking about DSCR rates. And I'm like, I have no idea what that means. That's a lingo piece in your world. Stands for debt service coverage ratio, I find out. So again, we talk probably a little bit of lingo on our end. And sometimes you may be thinking, what are you talking about? So again, it's a vulnerable place to be for anybody in the world to say, I don't understand what you're saying. That's a very difficult thing to say. And I'm like, I don't get it, because you don't want to come across like you don't know, or you're just not aware of something that you maybe should be aware of something, right? But if you don't get it, admit it, because it helps bring clarity, it helps bring peace, it helps bring knowing, and all those things reduce probably stress at the end of the day. And that's what this world is kind of filled with, is stress. So a good piece maybe to help eliminate that as well. Now let's bring on Lisa Sheridan, please. Can you tell us, Lisa, what is happening here at Gentian and what we can look forward to?
All right. Well, these are all kind of gauged toward the self-care, because these are all free as well that we're offering. So that's always a good one to do. So Sunday is September the 7th. Happy Grandparents' Day. I know a lot of our clients are grandparents, so this is your day to celebrate. That's this Sunday. And then Monday, September the 8th, is our Gentian Shred event and Eat Outside Day. So this is going to be at the Doty Farm, and it's an open house between 11 and 2. So you can come anytime between those times and bring electronic disposal collections is available, as well as shredding. So we already have the RSVP booked for that. So we look forward to seeing everyone on Monday who has signed up for that. So that should be fun. And then on Wednesday, September the 17th, we have our Where Will You Live? Life transition workshop. So that RSVP is still open till about September the 10th. So if you want to RSVP to that, I think there's several emails and various barcodes that you can list on, or you can give us a call and we can sign you up for that. So that's September the 17th. And then Sunday, September the 21st, we have it every day here at Gentian, but it's World Gratitude Day on Sunday, September the 21st. So please reach out to people and say why you're grateful for them. Monday, September the 22nd, autumn begins. That is the first day of fall. And because it's the first day of fall, I'm going to do a little bit of a dad joke as well there. So I was just wondering, let's just see what I have. I think we can do, why did the Scarecrow win an award? Anybody know?
Why?
Because he was outstanding in his field.
Yeah.
Yes, see,
Yes.
you get it. Okay, that's great. So yes, so that's all the activities that we have for September, but I just want to save the dates for some of the activities we have in October. October the 15th, we have our birthday club. Also Tuesday, October the 28th, we have our fall workshop in Appleton. And then on the following day, we have the Milwaukee Fall Workshop, which is at Blue Mound. Details of all those things will be coming soon via email, or some more happenings that'll come out. I did miss one thing in September. We have our Ladies and Gentian on Tuesday, September the 30th. And that is about growth, experience, and lifelong learning, which is what we like to do here at Gentian too. So that's still available to sign up. So all the ladies out there, it's a Zoom meeting, and we would love to have you join it. So those are the few things that are coming up here.
Lisa, thank you very much. Lots going on here. We look forward to seeing
Mhm.
you if you're going to attend those. We really much appreciate those. The Shred event has turned into something really special. I like one of my favorites, where you get to come, we get to spend time together. You shred a few things, but more important, it's about sharing a meal together, conversating, talking, getting updates from you, and just see what's going on in your life. We really appreciate those events. It's one of my favorite events of the year. So Rick has been very, he's communicating a lot today, one of our listeners, and he says, outstanding, Lisa, on the joke. You get it, outstanding in the, it just keeps going. And it kind of comes back. If you don't get it, admit it. So if you don't understand this joke, it's okay. Admit it. No, I'm joking. But just want to say thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate you. We appreciate the relationships you have with us and we have with you. We really do appreciate that. We just want to say thank you very much for your continued trust and friendship. we appreciate that. We also appreciate the introductions that you give to us, people that you care about that you think would benefit from the services that we provide. So we appreciate you. We appreciate them. It really keeps Gentian going on a healthy way and a healthy track. So we appreciate that. So just want to say thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. It looks like the weather is supposed to be pretty nice this rest of the week. So enjoy yourself. If you need anything help, big or small, let us know. We're here to help you. And from our galactic headquarters here in Mequon, Wisconsin, thank you very much and have a great day.